Hey guys, I'm back by unpopular demand to go over some of my favorite books of 2025 that didn't quite make the top 10 list. First up, This Thing Between Us, a horror novel about a possessed smart speaker in which one of the main characters dies really early on in the book. It's a tale about grief. It has some awesome gory scenes in it. There's possession. There's even a little bit of humor. So I really enjoyed this book. The reason why it didn't make the top 10 list is simple. No chapters. There's not a single chapter in this book. It's broken up into 4 parts, which are quite long, and I'm a sucker for the traditional chapter-based novel. Next is Escape by James Patterson and David Ellis. I enjoyed this book. Look, it's not breaking any new ground here, but if you want a propulsive thriller, if you want an outline or a framework of how to write a book that you just cannot put down, you simply have to keep turning the pages, this is it. And that's pretty much what James Patterson is best in the world at. Just writing a propulsive thriller that doesn't break new ground, but it keeps you entertained and, you can finish it in just a couple of days. Okay, Negative Space. I wasn't going to include this one simply because it took me so long to read, and I'll explain why in a moment. But I appreciate what the author was trying to do here. This is a dark, dark book. It is probably the most depressing book I've ever read. Definitely of 2025. And it's very difficult to describe what actually happens in it. There's a lot of drug use, there's a lot of abuse, all the trigger warnings you can imagine, and in the end it's very, very bleak. The issue I have is similar to what I have with This Thing Between Us, in that while this has chapters, each chapter involves many different characters and they're all delineated by like a subtitle. So it would be chapter 1 and then the person's name. And sometimes that person's chapter, within the chapter, is only a couple of lines. And while it works, it just makes it for a very difficult read in the sense that you're always trying to remember which character did what in the previous scene. Whereas in a traditional novel, you'll have basically one chapter is one scene involving one main character. So I guess you see a little bit of a theme here. Again, I'm a stickler for the traditional chapter-based novels. So I enjoyed this one. It took me a long time to get through, and it was very, very dark. Last of the books that I read last year that I really enjoyed that didn't quite crack the top 10 is Haunted, another horror novel. And I realized that I've reviewed a lot of horror novels. I guess it's because I missed writing horror, and I spent a lot of time last year reading them. It's a fantastic book about a group of writers who go to a retreat to complete their projects, and they soon realize that it's not exactly what they thought it would be, and that they must complete their project before leaving, if they are allowed to leave. It's satirical, as all Chuck, I'm not going to even try to say his last name, all Chuck's works are. It's gruesome, it's gory, it's disgusting. The main issue I have is the way that it's set up. So you essentially have the present time frame where you have the people attending the writers' conference, and then it's broken up with the actual stories that they write during their time there. So it's like writing within writing. And while it makes sense in the overall scheme of things, I found it not as easy to follow as if it were just a straightforward novel with the chapters.